When you ask most people how they ended up working at a car wash, you'll get a short answer: money, necessity, or maybe bad luck. For Laura, it was music. Not the metaphorical music of fate, but the literal kind: playlists reverberating through foam and suds, old radios blaring on countertops, a strange and persistent melody that seemed to follow the place around like an eccentric pet. The establishment, Bubble and Shine, sat at the edge of the city, just far enough outside downtown to draw both the beaten-up sedans of local teachers and the polished SUVs of passing execs. It was, if you believe the neon sign, a wash worth singing about. But what set Bubble and Shine apart wasn't the promotional jingle, it was the fact that every Saturday, without fail, the washing crew orchestrated a full-on musical production in the parking lot. Let me explain. The tradition began innocently enough, with old George behind the counter humming "Here Comes the Sun" while washing up at closing time. The next Saturday, a handful of others joined in. Before long, it was a ritual. But Laura, newly arrived from a marketing job that never quite fit, didn't know any of this the first time she clocked in. It was a Saturday in spring, the kind of day that makes even an overgrown lot feel hopeful. Laura arrived in faded jeans, still smelling like road trip coffee and worn-out ambition. The only thing on her mind was how to assemble the ancient pressure washer according to the sticky note instructions. She barely noticed Dwayne, the site supervisor, tracking her progress from the shade of the vending machines. Before long, shampoo suds began to bubble up around her work boots as she fussed with the awkward hose. A tap on the shoulder. Dwayne grinned. He always wore his sunglasses pushed atop his head, like some kind of hopeful rock star. "You hear that?" he asked. She stopped to listen. Across the lot, George had started humming something familiar. The older woman, Carla, who handled the cash register, was singing "Car Wash" by Rose Royce under her breath. Pete, who did the drying, began to clap out a rhythm with his towels. Dwayne shrugged and inclined his head. "Give it 10 minutes. You'll see." He was right. Laura set to work on her first wash, a cherry red fire truck that belonged to local firefighter volunteers, gleaming despite its years of callouts. The department had a long-standing deal. Once a month, Bubble and Shine cleaned its engines inside and out, returning them cleaner than when they left the factory line. As Laura stood before the fire truck, she felt the anticipation building around her. The others started gathering sponges and brushes, assembling like a crew about to launch a rocket. And then, remarkably, the music started. Not from speakers, but from the throats of the employees themselves. A cappella voices united in a familiar melody, the car wash song, adapted for fire engines. At the truck wash, scrubbing all day long, and washing all the ladders, making them strong. Suds flew into the air like confetti, sponges slapped against chrome, and the team wove their way along the length of the vehicle, some singing, others harmonizing, all moving in rhythm. Laura blinked. It was ridiculous, theatrical, and, if she admitted it, kind of marvelous. She tried to join in, mumbling the chorus as she scrubbed a wheel. Pete, noticing her apprehension, tossed her a clean towel and sang louder, carrying her along until she matched the tune. There was a method to the madness, she soon learned. The choreography of cleaning, a back-and-forth swing of the brush, a coordinated arc of the hose, the way Carla swept in at the end, belting the final note while buffing headlights to a pristine shine. Each Saturday brought a new act. Sometimes it was the recycling truck, serenaded by an environmental anthem written by George himself. Other times they washed police cruisers with a raucous blues number, lyrics made up on the spot, harmonicas provided by whoever remembered to bring one. The daily menu was the same: foam, rinse, wax, repeat, but the vibrancy came from these moments, bubbles catching the light as voices filled the sky. The fire truck wash became a highlight, an event that even drew a half-dozen regulars who parked nearby just to watch the show. Music crept into other corners, too. By lunchtime, Laura found herself singing along with the staff as they wiped down plastic tables, swapping verses from road trip songs about dusty highways and shining convertibles. "You get used to it," Carla told her one afternoon, sliding over an iced tea. "Around here, if you're not singing, you're not really washing." Laura laughed. She'd never thought of herself as particularly musical. Her only prior experience was a disastrous semester in a college a cappella group. But something about the camaraderie made performance easier. Maybe it was the freedom, the way suds scrubbed away the self-consciousness. Or simply that at Bubble and Shine, melody was currency. There were visitors, too. Once a city bus rolled in, its driver humming along with the tune as the entire crew erupted in a boisterous chorus. Another day, a garbage truck appeared, still smelling of its morning shift, prompting the invention of a new verse involving scrubbing stinky surprises, mint-smelling for passes. Eventually, Laura stopped worrying about appearing silly. She began suggesting songs herself, stitching together rhymes about street sweepers and delivery vans. She even recruited her roommate, Juliet, to come watch one Saturday, luring her with the promise of free coffee and a fire truck finale.